Round 12, and we go to Donnington Park. The championship starting to draw to a close. But has Haslam and the Ducati boys left it a little bit too late?
This is the man that's looking to try and convert that pole position. His first ever. A little nervy, I think, Tom Sykes, when I saw him earlier on in pit lane. But the number 66 bike, the Ventaxia Stobart Honda. And that's a great qualifying position as well for Chris Walker. So we've got a very exciting blast off the line about to come. Can Tom Sykes convert that career first as far as his pole position is concerned? There he is, right. Oh, good launch from Sykes. Good launch too from Walker. Gets a good blast down on the Rizzo Suzuki, and that's a fine start for Walker. Jonathan Ray comes through for the second row and slots into second place on the HM Plant Honda into Redgate corner for the first time. And of course, tyres, they were held for quite a long time on the grid. It's quite windy here. Watch for the tyre temperature through this left-hander. It's so easy to lose the front end here at this point in the middle of the pack. They've all gone through down to the old hairpin. Don't know why they call it a hairpin, because it's a hell of a fast corner. As underneath has come Haslam. That's a good move, Neil McKenzie, from Haslam under the bridge. Stark is down now towards McLean's. Oh, I tell you, look at Chris Walker.
Frightening stuff on the first lap, but no surprises there. Chris Walker makes a good start normally from the third row. So there he is, whole shot for Chris Walker into Redgate on the first lap, still into Coppice on the first lap. Jonathan Ray in hot pursuit, and we know that the Michelins haven't been working that brilliantly this weekend, so he really needs to capitalise on a good start and try and hang in behind Walker.
Yeah, this racetrack has changed on an hourly basis throughout the last 3 days of being here. Friday for practice and qualifying. Yesterday it's been very difficult to find the overall setup that suits. The only thing that has been consistent, it would blow your head off it. You stood by the side of the track. It's ever so windy here, and that does cause problems. Watch out for the 125s later as we drop down for the first time.
Jonathan Ray there, a little bit late on the brakes, backing in a little bit, but that's the way he likes to ride. Chris Walker, almost everything in line, which is quite unusual for Chris Walker, but look at Jonathan Ray, he is closing in a little bit. Tom Sykes in hot pursuit.
Yeah, Tom Sykes, that's not a bad result for Tom Sykes. He's got off the line pretty clean. A lot of dust down on the track there. That was from the earlier Virgin Mobile Cup first leg. It was a bit of a disaster as far as they were concerned. We'll talk about that later in the programme as well. We're at Redgate for the second time now. First flying lap into Redgate. Tricky little late apex corner, then it's on to Hollywood and then on to Craner Curves. Interestingly, the Michelin was struggling a little bit with tyres here when, believe it or not, of course, this is a Grand Prix racetrack, so the MotoGP. Oh, Haslam, superb as he comes down to the old hairpin, kept it in all the way through Craners and had the momentum at the old hairpin. That's very McKenzie-esque.
Yeah, and that's where we saw him on the onboard on the lap before making that pass. But Leon Haslam, remember him last year, him and his teammate Gregorio Olivier, so dominant in both races, both on Dunlops, both on the airwaves, Ducatis. They were really strong and really threw the cat amongst the pigeons last year for the HM Plant Championship.
So as they go out of Coppice, and oh, there's a bike on the deck, and that must be, if it's an onboard, is it Tommy Hill? It is Tommy Hill. Tommy Hill is in the dirt then. It's the only other onboard bike we've got. So there's Tommy Hill. Well, dejected and wanders off into, well, let's take a look at it then as we look now, coming into the right hand. It's so easy to do here, isn't it? In the middle of the turn, is it a high side? No, it just seems to get away from him, really, there. Just slides out.
I think the rear end definitely come round. It started off as a high side. Tommy Hill, unfortunately, we've seen that sight quite a few times this year. Tommy Hill qualified 11th on the Pirellis, of course. He's the only guy out there on a factory bike on the Pirellis, but really bad luck for Tommy. Get Haslam!
Bike between, and he goes through. Haslam on Walker as well. Walker's been ducked up twice by the two youngsters in front of him.
You've got to say Leon Haslam is looking the strongest so far over these first 3 laps. Really nice on the brakes. Jonathan Ray backing it in again to the hairpin there. Haslam's wide, Walker and Tom Sykes underneath him.
Sykes, he'll get on the old traction control here and blast out the inside on the Ventaxia Stobart bike, but doesn't manage it. Only Walker goes through on the Rizzo Suzuki. Jonathan Ray on the HM Plant Honda leads as they come bouncing into Goddard's, into the braking area. They're all over Haslam. Up either side of him, and Kianari, can you only watch? We're only on lap 3 of 20 though, and it feels like I've done 20 laps already.
Great 6-way battle here for the lead, and yeah, Leon Haslam, all that hard work has gone to waste there because he got right up to second position, but Walker running past him when he ran wide at hairpin.
Oh dear me. Chris Martin, that is, on the Red Viper bike has gone down. Chris Martin then, he's not going to risk anything, is he? Get behind those barriers as soon as you can. So Chris Martin got to get back now to the paddock and get himself ready for race 2. Sykesy already spinning that rear wheel as well. Yeah. That looks to me like he's not going to have a tyre by the end of this 20-lap race.
Well, I'm surprised because I know he did all his qualifying
laps on
race tyres. Yeah, Haslam underneath Chris Walker.
Haslam was real. I saw him hand in hand almost with Phil Plater from Dunlop. Is that what it takes now to get exactly the tyre you need?
You know these racers, they will do absolutely anything. Absolutely anything. He didn't mess up this time at the hairpin. That's where Walker repassed him the last time he mounted the charge.
Chianari looking at the rear end of Tom Sykes quite literally. We're on lap 5 of 20, soon to be lap 6 of 20 as the Ray on 1:31.882 last time round, the fastest lap of the race. He keeps getting a little bit quicker. That's great news for HM Plant.
Oh, Walker messed up there, went backwards.
Big time. I don't know if he missed a gear or what, but it's let Chianari through both the RZA Suzukis. That really mucked up Cal Crutchlow.
And now Cal Crutchlow's underneath Chris Walker as well. It's like let Chianari get through a little bit.
Yeah, 2 places and once, and Chianari, well, he wasn't going to be gifted. He wasn't going to get them naturally, I don't think. He had to be gifted them at this pace. Tom Sykes is the man here that's looking for that first ever British Superbike win. Sykes is right on the case. He's managed to get that momentum back and come so close to the rear end of the 2 leaders. Meanwhile, Chianari is pushing him along.
He really is. He really is. Haslam a little bit quicker through this section of the racetrack. Tom Sykes stronger where it's on the brakes and turning in on that front end. But all of these guys pretty much on identical lap times. The first 2 on 31.5s and the next 2 on 31.4s. Sykes and Chianari.
Big shout out as well for Tommy Bridewell, who rejoins the series this year. Of course, Tommy Bridewell, younger brother to Ollie, who is much missed around the Donnington Park paddock. But Tommy is back on the naturally best machine, as through goes Haslam. Haslam slides underneath Jonathan Ray. Now we're going to see some fireworks. The Ducati out front, the Airways Ducati, the HM Plant Honda. Now, if Haslam can put together some... Oh, John's going to crash. Oh, unbelievable. Johnny Ray. Well, that is young men, their raw talent on how to hold on to a motorcycle that is completely out of control. Well,
raw talent, but a big lunge, a big mad lunge in my opinion. He didn't really need to do that. He's so good at backing it in supermoto style, but yeah, it was a good save. They touched there.
Good save by Leon Haslam as well. Leon Haslam
should feel for Haslam in that situation.
You've got to feel for Haslam, but he's got a chance to build it back up again. But I've got to say that Jonathan Ray, that was a crash that didn't happen.
Yeah, he backed it in nice and smooth, but he's just in so much hotter than he had been and offline, because he's normally down the outside of the racetrack.
But look at this.
I know.
Look who leads. Tom Sykes, my hero. Fantastic stuff. The grinner is out front. Wow. If Tom Sykes can bat this away, meanwhile, it's the worst case scenario as far as the championship is concerned at the moment, because Chianari is super well placed right to the shoulder. That is Jonathan Ray's boss, who will be thinking a little bit about that move and perhaps thanking the heavens that Jonathan Ray didn't crash. Ray in 6th place, Lavia in 7th place, Chris Walker in 8th place, Scott Smart 9th, James Hayden 10th.
Haslam past Chianari.
Big time. That was beautiful.
He's good there.
Long way back as well.
He's good at that.
Oh, I thought that was. I thought Chianari was getting that a little sideways out of there, but no problem for Haslam. I don't think he'll get the same treatment as Jonathan Ray gave him down in this
Chianari's not going to take any chances there. Chianari's not a backing in merchant. He doesn't mind sliding coming out of the corners, but not too fussed of it.
Mind you, the first time I ever saw him was at Silverstone, and he didn't know which way he was actually pointing the motorbike. One minute it was to the left, then it was to the right. I've never seen anybody ride a motorcycle quite like it when we first clapped eyes on Chianari. There's the team, the Vent Axia Honda team. Right, smile from Paul Bird as Haslam again down into Fogarty's. He is the master of Fogarty's corner. Down on the brakes, and this time makes it stick. So Haslam goes back to the front, and Tom Sykes perhaps will be a little bit well advised to slot in behind Haslam for a while, because I think Haslam is without doubt the quicker of the front 4 at the moment. So that momentum, Sykes, he might have a bit of a breather chasing someone for a lap or
Cal
two.
Crutchlow there, you know Cal Crutchlow.
Oh, and he's under him. Crutchlow's got it. Oh, Crutchlow had it all right, and he's taken Chianari out. Well, that will make the championship look a whole lot different. Oh, don't smile, Colin. Look at him trying to stifle that. That's the funniest thing I've seen all day.
I can't. I mean, it's hard not to.
It's very hard not to.
He's not laughing at his misfortune. He's just looking at things turning around for his rider, and he's hard to hide that grin on a bad day.
That's the save of the day, Neil Mackenzie, from our commentary position, I've got to say, and I appreciate that very much. Colin Wright then could hardly stifle his luck as Crutchlow comes underneath Chianari and takes Chianari out. There goes Ryoichi Chianari. What a disaster for the championship leader, and that could be severely costly.
Well, you see, Chianari hasn't put a foot wrong. He was just keeping his nose clean. Hadn't put a foot wrong the whole race, and for that to happen,
Chianari's
so
hurt.
But Cal Crutchlow, he could sniff a rostrum there, and you can't blame him as well, but maybe just wasn't the right time because he did have the pace.
Let's take a look at this now. This is going to be a little bit scary, that's for sure.
Into the last corner here. Yeah, we couldn't even see Chianari. Crutchlow thought he was underneath him. Chianari turned in.
Haslam and Sykes, they're already out of the Melbourne Loop. We're coming down to the Melbourne Loop. Look at the difference in styles. Gregorio Lavia, absolutely inch perfect. He's a weapon, isn't he? And Jonathan Ray, true youngster style, sideways on all over the place.
Great to see when you're actually out watching them there, Jonathan.
There we
Ray
go. Look at that. Great stuff. Pointed it at the apex, pulls it down, blocks off Jonathan Ray. Nice timed move there from Gregorio Lavia. Yep, that deserves a bit of applause. Daryl Healy, the man on the right, team owner. This championship isn't over for Airwaves Ducati yet, you know.
It certainly is not. I was going to say, watching Jonathan Ray out in practice, when you're actually standing at the side of the track and you see him backing it in, the rear wheel's also bouncing and it's squealing all the way in there. It's so spectacular to see and hear it. Oh, Tom Sykes being defensive there. Shaky Byrne thinking about a pass.
Good on you, Tom Sykes. If we come down to Fogarty's, and Sykes has got that covered. He's got one more corner really to make it covered. Down to the Melbourne Loop. He's got that broken now. Sykes has got enough of a second place lead to hold out his teammate Shane Byrne. I don't know whether Shane will be, unless there's a mistake here from Sykes, Shane will be close enough to lunge into Goddard's. Not a corner that's a favourite for a pass up the inside. It gets a bit bumpy in the middle of the turn. Haslam then comes to his last corner to take race 1 win in the Bennett's British Superbike Championship. Second place for the pole sitter. Tom Sykes takes second place. Shane Byrne makes it a second and third place for the Vent-Axia Stobart team. But Airwaves Ducati close in on this championship. Team owners, Daryl Healy for Airwaves Ducati, Paul Bird for the Stobart Vent-Axia team. Congratulate their men. There goes Chris Walker, finishing in 6th place. Green flag at the back of the grid, and Shane Shaky Byrne is in pit lane, we are told. But it's his teammate on pole position who gets another flyer down towards Redgate for the first time. Tom Sykes, will he convert? Side by side, it's Arizna Suzuki that's gone into the lead, I think, at Redgate Corner. The SMT bike at the back of the grid. Yes, it is Chris Walker. What a flyer from him, Neil.
Whole shot for Chris Walker, always makes a good start, no matter what row he's on. Tom Sykes got the jump there, got the reactions, they were really fast, but no one beats Chris Walker to the first corner.
More news we will hear from pit lane in a moment with Shane Byrne, who apparently is in pit lane. Yet to see that.
Good start for Leon Haslam, right on the back of Johnny Ray there.
Where he needs to beat Ray, and they both need to beat Chianari by enough. Chianari has a 30-point lead in this series.
Tommy Hill there, looking forward there from Tommy Hill's Virgin Media Yamaha. Tommy Hill hurt his thumb in that first race incident when he went down, and he's not feeling too hot, but he's out there anyway.
Well, I think it depends as well. It's gone quite dark around here. How much the track temperature has changed as to what the tyres are performing like over the distance of 20 laps. It will make a difference. Sykes is so good down here. Look at that, straight underneath Chris Walker. And Walker is very brave on the brakes. Not a man you would say was easy to pass on the brakes. Oh, in synchronicity, those two, flat out, wringing their necks.
Can Walker fight back? Not at this one. Swings it wide, pulls it tight, maybe trying to get a drive.
Chianari in front of Ray.
In front of Haslam.
Chianari in front of Ray as well, and Haslam's now got in front of Ray.
Yeah, Jonathan Ray didn't look, I mean, he set off in that first race until he had that moment going into the hairpin. Looked really confident, looked really strong, sticking in good lap times, but went off the boil a bit after he did have that moment.
Well, your prediction was absolutely dead on, dead right, Neil. You did say you expected to see Tommy Hill come in. He's got a bit of an injury after that off in race 1. And here he is down pit lane.
Can Chianari get alongside him on the brakes?
Looking at it again.
Yes.
Oh, beautiful stuff from Kianari. Chucks it into the S's and manages to balk.
He lost a bit of time. He
Yeah,
lost a bit of time there because Chris Walker's not an easy man to pass.
But he did actually balk Walker enough, so Walker lost the time in the middle of the S's as well. And now that Kianari is past, he sets about. Hawk Colchester Kawasaki of Scott Smart is in pit lane. Stopped through technical problems. Oh, Crutchlow. Is that Crutchlow?
That's mechanical trouble, that.
Yeah, that's gone pop.
2 DNFs for Crutchlow today.
Yeah, one from a crash. And of course, that could be a legacy of that crash. That'll be his #1 bike, I suspect, that he's out on. You just don't know what gets shaken up when it's in a fall. Obviously, the boys would have checked it through top to bottom, but electrical faults and the like can give you that. It's not smoking, so clearly it hasn't let go.
Kianari's past Tom Sykes, but he hasn't exactly pulled away that much. Tom Sykes.
I don't know. I think that's. I think Kianari smooth and fast. I think it's Haslam we've got to keep watching out for. Haslam from a long way back. Well, that's incredible.
I hope he makes it.
That
he
was
did.
from a long, long way back, and he still managed to turn it nice.
He certainly did. That was lovely. That's where he was so strong in race 1. Did the majority of his passing there.
Ooh, Kianari now doing a bit of the old Johnny Ray backing it in. I can tell you, Shane Byrne, the reason he started for pit lane is he had a mechanical with his first bike. He came in and he's on his second bike out there now. So Shane Byrne, he's not even riding his #1 machine, and he's come through to 8th place.
Yeah, fastest lap of 1:31.6, so not slacking around either.
6 seconds behind Jonathan Ray. Jonathan Ray in 7th place at the moment. Jonathan Ray's championship is slowly but surely going out of the window. We're going to have to do some calculations.
Oh, big moment for Kianari. It's all over. It's all over.
Oh, as he slides, he's got it back on track. Well, I was just about to say, 25 points for Kianari. This championship could be damn near in the bag. Instead, he was damn near in the dirt.
In the best tradition of British Superbike Championships, it's not over yet.
You know, I just took my eyes off that then to look down at the scores to see where we were going.
It nearly blew you off your seat.
You nearly maybe jumped
Well,
right
you know,
off.
you take a look at this. You have a look. You can go through it this
Ooh,
time.
sideways,
Well,
big black line on the floor.
I didn't see it from that angle, but it was equally as scary.
Big dark line
Here we
coming
go.
out the back. Let's have another look
Out
at
of
this.
Redgate, on the gas. Whoa. Excuse me. Coming through.
He did well to hang on there.
He really did.
4th place he is now then. That'll put Walker up into 3rd. Neil Tuxworth, Colin Wright. I think he's had his lips glued together.
He has, yeah.
That'll help this man for 2nd place in the championship. It really isn't, because Haslam's wide again. Haslam cannot pull it down to the apex.
And his worst corner is this next one. This is where Tom Sykes will see every lap that he can close in.
Tom Sykes is also a racer. He's not someone that's going to sit there and let Haslam get away with it. If Haslam makes a mistake, Sykes is going to be by.
Haslam changed his line a little bit there, and you can see the front end of the Airways Ducati pulling up. Look at Kianari though, he's closing the gap.
Yeah, but we're on the penultimate lap now. There's not enough time really for Kianari to do anything as far as I can see. Malcolm Ashley's out of the race, by the way. Malcolm Ashley has pulled out. So, leader in the Superbike Cup, our last round down for that is Tristan Palmer from Tom Tunstall and Connor Cummins. James Buckingham is back in 4th place. That is the Superbike Cup. Meanwhile, at the front, still Haslam from Sykes. A lap and a half to go for these two. Who's it going to be, Neil?
Well, Tom Sykes, he's right in the back of Haslam. I can't see where he's making a huge amount of ground where he could actually put a pass. He hasn't had a look, he hasn't threatened any passes. He's certainly close enough, but if Haslam does push hard, pushes the front of that Airways Ducati, runs a bit wide, Tom Sykes will be underneath him, no question.
Natural passing place would be down here, of course, in the Fogartys, but you just can't bet on anybody being able to pass him there. It certainly Haslam into the Fogarty S's has been better than everybody all day long.
Leon Haslam's under pressure, but he can deal with pressure. Although saying that,
Paul Bird looks like he's aging by the minute. This would be a great result for Paul Bird Motorsport. They've put such a lot of commitment into this over the last few years. It's been a while since they won the British Championship. They were one of the most successful teams in the paddock for so long. They went their own way with Hondas, and some laughed at them when they wanted to go the way they wanted to go with it. Again, has them a bit wide, but now some justification is coming in the hands of Tom Sykes. Last lap then.
big effort from Tom Sykes coming here, I think.
Got to go for it.
He's
second place is okay, but second place is the first loser.
He's going to bite the screen here, I reckon.
meaning he's going to have a high side, or meaning he's going to bite the screen and get on with it?
He's going to bite the screen and look for a fast lap and just try and put himself in a position where he's either pressurising Leon Haslam.
The Ducati's so confident at the front end, though, isn't it? It's a real good bike front end-wise. It's planted on the floor.
It is, but
down to McLean's.
He's also can open that throttle. The traction controls is fantastic, and Haslam makes the very most of it.
Whoa, look at this. Ray versus Byrne. That's going to be a battle to the line as well, and that could help Haslam.
He's been taking a second lap out of Johnny Ray, so there's no quit. He's going to pass him. He's got so much more pace than Jonathan Ray.
That is a situation, of course, that will help Haslam in the charge for second place in the championship, and that's assuming that...
defensive riding going on here.
All over the place, but still down in the foggies now.
Leon needs to get through here nice and safe.
Yeah, and Tom Sykes needs to get this perfect. Down to Melbourne. The Honda might have a fractional better punch coming out of that corner, but Haslam on the brakes has just been awesome. He's got to hold the line, though. Yeah, he did.
Hold it here, and he's got to hold it in the next one.
Well, I think the next one is less likely, but I'll tell you, Tom Sykes is close enough, actually, if he does get it a bit wrong. Sykes will stuff it underneath him. Haslam goes for an early apex.
He's in there hot.
It's too hot. It's too hot. But he's got the drive.
What?
Unbelievable, unbelievable. Haslam takes it from Tom Sykes. He wags a finger at him. A double win then for Leon Haslam. Darrell Healy gets intimate with Colin Wright in the Airwaves Ducati cab. And Byrne has got Johnny Ray at the line. That is good for Haslam and the second place in the series. Well, that really is going to make a big difference to this championship as we go to the scrappy little Indy circuit of Brands Hatch. Leon Haslam on the Airwaves Ducati makes it a double, and that will really set the standard by which we go to Brands Hatch for the final round, mobbed by some of the fans who have come over the fence. Haslam, Sykes, Chianari, we will see them on the podium. Chris Walker gets fourth, Lavia fifth, Byrne sixth, relegating Jonathan Ray, and he will be dejected with that into seventh place. Michael Rudder eighth, Steve Plater ninth, and Carl Harris slipping to 10th. Chianari, 404 points for him then, in front of Jonathan Ray on 367. Only 4 points now between him and Leon Haslam for that second place in the series. It ain't all over yet. Gregorio Lavia is fourth, Shane Byrne fifth, Tom Sykes sixth, Ian Hutchison seventh, and Chris Walker in eighth place. But it's all about who can catch Keogh at Brands, the final round of the championship. What a nail biter.